Good morning, everyone. Let us listen to the sound of our peace bowl. This morning, we ring this bowl for the peace that all of us wish for the world. And also, we ring this bowl for the scent that is coming in our windows of spring. Let us listen to our special musicians, Susan Kelly and Salt of the Earth.
Days will pass like summer storms. The winter winds will follow after. And there is love, and love is warm. There is a time for us to wander when time is young, and so are we. The woods are greener over yonder. The path is new and the world is free. There is a time when leaves are falling. The woods are gray, the paths are old. The snow will come when geese is calling. We'll need a fire against the cold. There is a time for us to wander. Time is young, and so are we. The woods are greener over yonder. The path is new, and the world is free. So do your roaming in the springtime. You'll find your love in the summer sun. The frost will come and bring a harvest. Then you can rest when the day is done. There is a time for us to wander when time is young, and so are we. The woods are greener over yonder. The path is new and the world is free. The path is new and the world is free.
Thank you, Susan and Salt of the Earth. I can't see everyone, so I don't know if you're out there, but we are grateful. That was beautiful. I am Reverend Patty Willis, and I am proudly serving Granite Peak Unitarian Universalist congregation in these unprecedented times. This morning, we are shaking up our order of service a little bit so that we can better dive into the equinox. If you are new to us, you can find out everything that's going on at our website at prescottuu.org. You can email me from there, and there is a link on our website. If you have children, you can contact Bev Bostrom, our faith development coordinator, who is creating amazing activities and times to think for our children, even now that we are online. It is good to be together. And as pilgrims depend on maps and signs along the way, our community and Unitarian Universalists all over the world have mission statements. In these times when so much is different and so much is now transforming again, let us listen to these words and think, how can they guide us right now? We are a compassionate spiritual community that celebrates diversity, nurtures the personal and spiritual growth of all ages, shares our gifts, promotes justice for all, and serves the world we live in. We are thankful today for Heather Knowles, her technical and artistic direction, for Mary Lou Prince, for her video work that you will enjoy in this service, her musical direction, and our lovers of the earth, Rhea Batterman, Ainslee O'Donnell, Sue Daniel, who brought us her flute, Bronwyn Butterfield, all who gathered with Lou and me on Wednesday morning, this beautiful morning at Watson Lake. And of course, we thank Susan Kelly and Salt of the Earth for their generosity in sharing their music with us today. And I have news that our stewardship campaign is going well. And if you haven't yet submitted your pledge form, you can do so online, and please do that. It's going wonderfully, and we need those of you who haven't yet gone on to do so. This morning, we open the next part of our service with a chalice lighting. This chalice lighting, the chalice lighting I had thought of giving was about the equinox, but as we are speaking today of balance, I thought I would give you the words, these words that brought me such balance. They're among the people who are coming to our building, among our neighbors who are coming to our building and taking and using our non-perishable foods, is someone who sends me prayers into my little phone. And so I'm going to try to read to you a prayer that she sent to me when I was feeling a little out of balance. And this work that we are doing in our sanctuary has been a great source of balance, as are the neighbors that we are getting to know. She sent this, La bendición tibetana, que todos los seres sean felices, que todos los seres alcancen la paz, que todos los seres estén protegidos de cualquier daño, interno o externo, que todos los seres estén sanos y fuertes, que todos los seres se liberen, que todos los seres se iluminen, que así sea, así es, hecho está. That all of us beings, that all beings can have peace, that all beings will be protected from any harm, internal and external, that all beings will be healthy and strong, that all beings will be free, that all beings will be enlightened, and that this will be like this, like this. I didn't have time to give you a perfect translation. I'll send that out later, but I hope that you took from that the spirit of these words. And now that the light is awakening us, from our winter slumber. And people are coming to us and giving us their gifts that bring balance and joy. Let us listen to a flautist, Sue Daniel, who is waiting to play for us. Let us listen to her music and to her joy in playing the flute.
I'm Sue Daniel, and I use my flutes to calm myself. My first thought when I started learning these flutes was that I needed to be calm, and this is what has happened. I'm calm, and then I flute for other people, and it calms them as well, it turns out. That was an accident. I didn't know that was going to happen. But it's lovely, and I love my flutes. I have several, and I use them by myself, but I prefer to use them in company, where I have one or two other players who are drumming or fluting. So that makes a little jam session, a miniature jam session. We've just started doing that again. I've been vaccinated twice, and so have my jammies. So we're playing together, and that's a real highlight of every second week, is for me to get two other people in my home and play. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. And I wonder, all of you, where do you go to revive your souls? When Lou and I have lived in cities that had a river flowing through them, we've walked by the river and found solace in the scent of the sound of the water and the way that light sparkles on it. And once we saw a snake cross this wide river, bouncing across the waves. But now, living in Arizona, rivers are often empty places, so we must imagine them when we walk along their banks. To find balance, can we together this morning envision that river that is flowing in our souls? Let us find that river with the voices of our choir. There is a river flowing in my soul.
There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my soul. And it's telling me that I'm somebody. There's a river flowing in my soul. There's a river flowing in my heart.
Did you hear the wind? That was recorded yesterday when the wind was blowing around the choir. Let us now say our covenant together. Love is the doctrine of this congregation, the quest for truth its sacrament, and service is its prayer, to dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve others in community. Thus do we covenant together. And now let us listen to Ainslee O'Donnell and her ideas about trauma healing.
I am very passionate about social justice work, and something I've found in myself is I have to balance my optimism with realism. And as a disabled student who is passionate about trauma-informed work and social justice, I've been trying to find the balance between the two to make social justice work more sustainable for me and others who maybe have suffered or are suffering from trauma. I think particularly with racial justice and disabled justice, it's important that we keep in mind the power of trauma and oppression on people's day-to-day lives and their capacities. And I think balancing sitting, reflecting, holding space to express, and doing healing activities can be empowering and help build the social justice movement to be able to do more work. So that's what inspires me.
Thank you, Ainslee, for your wisdom. And now let us listen to the sound of the bell and enter into our time of joys and sorrows. Let us breathe together. And consider all that is around us, the spring, the awakening of this earth, the joys and sorrows that are among us, that are on our hearts, the feelings of loss and our feelings of happiness. We are sad this week at the loss of Taya Park, a woman beloved in this community and beloved of her family. We had a wonderful time yesterday sharing our memories of Taya. And let us also hold Maria Fleury and her family as they mourn the death of her father, Walter Vomlane. Let us hold Dick Fox's children, Helen and Russell, who were by Dick's side when he died. His memorial service is this coming Saturday at 11 a.m. We'll be sending a Zoom link. Let us hold Erin Holloway and her family as they continue to mourn the passing of their son and sibling, Ashler. And now this week, the death of Erin's father. Let us breathe together and hold Erin. And her family. We also, as a community, continue to hold Eunice Lovejoy, Janer Eldridge, Karen Anderson, who is beautifully recovering, Karen Doyle, who is finding a new home, Frank Malley, and Peter Eldridge, who continues to navigate with such great courage a new world with low vision, and Joe, who is learning with him. We also hold the loved ones of the 8 who were killed in the hate-motivated violence in Georgia towards Asian Americans. Let us hold them in the circle of our community. And let us hold all those connected to now the over 500,000 people who have died of this coronavirus. Life happens. It happens to all of us and to our loved ones. It happens. We are knocked out of balance. And Ainslee O'Donnell is coming back to us right now from Watson Lake. She is one of our members who is studying how to heal trauma. As we are feeling knocked over by the deaths of our community, in our community, and in our own families, let us breathe together with Ainslee. I invite you into this practice called the box breath.
I have found balance through my breath. Inhaling creates energy and exhaling calms. In honor of this spring equinox, I'd like to share with you the box breath. Inhaling for 4 counts, holding for 4 counts, exhaling for 4 counts, and holding for 4 counts. We'll do this 3 times. Thank you.
Thank you, Ainslee. That's good, a good practice for these times and other times when things come out of balance. Now I invite you into our time of meditation together. Let us do as Ainslee instructed and breathe in 4 and breathe out 4. And if there are names of people, especially on your hearts and minds, please say those names. And after the silence, I will ring the bell and bring us into a time of meditation and prayer. Please join me in this prayer. Spirit of life, we are here. We are grateful for the life of Taya, who was such a bright light in our community. We are grateful for the hearts that she healed, for all those she reached out to. We ask for comfort for her family. We also hold all those that have been mentioned before in this service. Let us hold them. And especially today, let us hold Asian Americans who have lived in this country, have given so much to this country, and yet have experienced discrimination and prejudice. And most recently in this coronavirus, the hate crimes have gone up over 100%. We ask for ways to stand with our neighbors who are Asian Americans and help them gather together so that we can change this country to be more welcoming of all. We ask for comfort for all those who are grieving within our circle and in our greater community. We ask for blessings on those who come to us in need of food. We ask for knowledge of the needs that are around us, the needs that and the gifts that are around us in the veterans who live on one side and then all through our neighborhood. And we give thanks for our building, which is opening and welcoming. For all these things, we ask for blessings and give thanks. Amen, and may it be so. We are now to the time of our offering, during which time we give to our seeds of support, these donations that go to places in our community that have needs. This time, our donations will go to Prescott Meals on Wheels, an organization which many of you are involved in, which delivers meals to seniors and has been especially important during this difficult pandemic. For more information, you will be seeing a link to Prescott Meals on Wheels. We acknowledge at this time the generosity of your spirits expressed through this offering and the way that it connects us with our neighbors. You can find the PayPal link given on the chat. And when you give, please remember to put if it's for seeds of support or your pledge. What is given in love is received in gratitude. Let us now listen with more gratitude to Susan Kelly and Salt of the Earth singing Mountain.
Well, a wise man once said to me, if your heart don't break, you won't be free. But I'm as free as a bird, flying out over the sea. I call out to the wind, but no one comes to let me in. I weight upon my shoulders, weight upon my shoulders, crushing me. Shine down on this mountain and rain down on my face, and call out to the river to wash me out, to wash me out of this place. Well, I wish that I was a sailor man, with the wheel of a ship held in my hand. 'Cause I like the water and I'm more like the anchor. I wish I was the anchor in me. Sometimes I wish I was a sin, so the ones I love wouldn't let me in. I wouldn't have to try to find all the answers, to give them all the answers they need. Shine down on this mountain and rain down on my face, and call out to the river to wash me out, to wash me out of this place.
Thank you, Susan and Salt of the Earth. And now let us listen to what Rhea Batterman can tell us about the equinox.
The spring equinox is a festival of awakening and rebirth. The dark months are now over, and we're moving into the warmth of light. The sun will continue to grow until the summer solstice, when it begins to turn inward again. With spring equinox, your spirit is waking up, and new ideas and new dreams for your life. It's fresh, warm energy and has the power to make you feel alive and inspired. The inspiring spring equinox energy is encouraging you to be reborn. Embrace this new beginning. The spring energy will fuel the growth as the days get longer and the sun grows warmer. The end of winter can sometimes feel a little rocky, especially this year. The energy shifting from the inward force and outwardly focus can make you feel a bit off kilter. Implementing changes required in order to grow and flourish can really disrupt your sense of equilibrium in the late winter. But with spring equinox, the earth returns to a place of perfect balance. Day and night are equal, and light and dark are equal, bringing the return of so much needed balance into your own life. Overall, spring is a joyful time. Everything is coming alive. Nature is waking up to be reborn. The same thing is happening within you. Your spirit is becoming alive with hopeful energy. Parts of you are being reborn and coming alive in ways that you've never experienced before. Spring represents a new day. Its dawn is the wheel of the year. A new sun is rising. Life is awakening, and the warm sunlight of your spirit feels ready to make a fresh start. This time of year, your spirits are bright and coming alive with new ideas. Hopefully you feel inspired and excited to try new things.
And now, to get you into more of the spirit of the equinox, here is a dance created by Bronwyn Butterfield with the flute of Sue Daniel.
To the light in our hearts, to the light in our hearts, sing praise, sing praise. To the light in our hearts, to the light in our hearts, sing praise sing praise. Light in our bodies, light in our souls, light in our spirit, and light in our hearts. To the light in our hearts, to the light in our hearts, sing praise, sing praise. To the light in our hearts, to the light in our hearts, sing praise, sing praise. Light in our earth, light in our skies, light in our fauna, and light in our trees.
Thank you, Bronwyn, Rhea, and Sue, for sharing your gifts and opening the way to spring, like opening a window onto a field of daffodils. And as I heard on the news yesterday, words that I do not want to doubt, the earth is turning a corner in this pandemic. After a year, we didn't know how we might contract a deadly virus. We were surrounded by stories of contraction, stories of deaths, of people who were out of contact, away from the arms of their loved ones. At first, we were knocked out of balance, but through the weeks and months, we've learned to find balance in new ways. I wonder what you have learned. In usual days for me as a pastor, of which we only had a few months together, I found balance through contact with you, by meeting with you, being in your presence, having conversations and listening, being able to run over when there was something where I was needed. But this has been problematic during the pandemic. And as I said to all of you who gathered to remember Taya Park yesterday, I hope that we can absolve each other and ourselves for the times we were not able to reach out physically during the past year for fear of endangering health. This year, many of us have struggled with finding balance. Some days, especially for those of you who are newly living alone after losing loved ones, some of these days have been excruciating. And we have learned the little and big ways to find balance. We've reached out differently through cards and emails and phone calls and drive-by birthday parties. We have come to recognize one another by only seeing our eyes. Now let us listen to how Rhea is finding balance.
Hi, I am Rhea Batterman, and I find balance in several different ways, mostly from singing and music, especially in the choir. And I'm saying that because Mary Lou is taping me and making me say that. I also love just to sit in my recliner chair and have a glass of wine at night, and I find a lot of balance in that. I just feel relaxed. And surprisingly enough, this past year, which many of us probably were so depressed in the beginning, I seem to find some kind of peace within myself of being home and being calm and just enjoying my time and being healthy.
Thank you, Rhea. As a young man, my grandfather apprenticed at a mortuary in Evanston, Wyoming, which is where he was working when the Spanish flu epidemic raged through towns like Evanston that were on rail lines. He recalled that there were so many dead that they had to embalm them and then stand them up around the perimeter of the room, for the coffin makers could not do work fast enough to keep up with the need. In a history course that Mary Lou and I began in great courses, but we didn't finish, the professor began his first lecture by saying that history doesn't repeat itself. Although I agree that it's too simple to always be looking for historical cycles, I also imagine that humans have been facing similar challenges through the ages with disease and losing loved ones, and with governments changing. 675,000 in the US died in the pandemic of 1918, a number that we may well reach. And if you do not belong to the dominant group, then you have special challenges, like the Asian Americans who are being targeted with hate crimes. And as I said, up over 100% in the past year due to this pandemic and the assertion that we were being attacked by a Chinese virus. Last night, I would have liked to have held a vigil for the Asian Americans who were killed in hate crimes and for the rise in hate crimes in that population. But we have had our own deaths in this community, not hate crimes or from COVID. And we have needed to take time to remember together and heal and return to our own balance. And when we are strong enough, our work out in the greater community helps create balance that is often out of our sight. The families that were struggling to make ends meet and worried about food are living better because of our food pantry. I feel in greater balance when I drive to our building and walk in our neighborhood, when I go into our sanctuary and see that the food items have found homes in my absence. I believe that our work for justice is a work that helps to create balance in the greater world. And when we have been given so much, we cannot have true balance without giving of ourselves. Let us listen to Rhea again as she talks about how she transforms the anger that wells up inside her and finds balance.
I have a problem dealing with the anger within myself to transfer that anger into something more productive. And that's one of the reasons I do get involved in working with social justice. And it's just a very, very difficult point for, I think everybody, or not everybody, but many of us are feeling this at this particular time because that's all we hear about. And it's just, I mean, I've stopped watching the news for the most part because of that, because it's so depressing and I could just feel myself boiling up. So what I said before, teasingly, singing really, really helps me with that. Music, listening to music and dancing around and just something to divert.
And especially our choir,
And
right?
especially our choir, right, thank you. And it really does help. And also being with all the people, all our Granite Peak people, and who are just so supportive, all of us helping each other. I think that really puts a lot of balance into my life.
Thank you, Rhea. A minister's life, I believe, could offer a study in the search for balance. We find ourselves in places where we are newcomers to everything, to the people we serve and to the people of the greater community. We hear certain things when we're interviewing to move to a place. Like we hear that a congregation likes shared ministry, or that they want a minister who could lead them in a renovation or even a new building. And then we're asked to be in the most difficult places, to make difficult phone calls when someone dies or has discovered that they only have a short time to live, and sit with people when they are mourning the suicide of a son or father, and find words or silence. Find words when there are no words that could possibly bring comfort. I sat in our building alone yesterday after everyone had gone home from the gathering to celebrate Taya Park. And I was thinking about how she found balance throughout her life, from her difficult young years in Rotterdam during World War II. Do you know that 22,000 Dutch people lost their lives to starvation from 1944 to 45 years she lived there? This was called the Dutch Hunger Winter. And even after that war, life continued to be harsh. So much of Rotterdam, where she grew up, was born, had been destroyed, and there was limited housing. Yet through those years and the ones that followed, Taya found ways to be happy. Taya sparkled. She countered the harshness she had experienced with the love of her life with her children, her beloved Bob, and the way that she cared for many of you, for her friends. She wove together a balance among all the happiness and sadness that she experienced. Another part of the palette that she used to create balance was her love of nature, her hiking that took her miles up mountains and many times into and out of the Grand Canyon. Nature can be a powerful force in creating balance. I believe it is one that many of you use to create balance. And the other night, when my world felt out of balance, I put on my coat and sat out on our deck, looking up at the stars through the trees. Where do you go? How do you find balance when your world is rocked? Bronwyn is at Watson Lake.
I'm Bronwyn. I just wanted to share with you Watson Lake. Watson Lake is a paradise in our community. I've often kayaked in the moonlight, the shadows, the sounds of the insects. I just adore this lake because it gives me peace. I've been on this lake when it's rough, when it's glassy, when the reflections just magnify, and the images are breathtaking. Watson Lake.
Thank you, Bronwyn. And I also thank Barbara Jacobson, who took us on a kayak, sent us out on our own kayaks around Watson Lake. We are here in this beautiful part of the earth in a pandemic. Each of us is engaged in making balance. For if you weren't doing this work, you would have probably stopped getting up in the morning. Finding balance takes effort. It takes singing, it takes dancing. And to prepare for this morning, I spent from 8 o'clock to 9:30 dancing with a group I call my tribe that I danced with when we were in Washington, D.C. as many times as possible. I have also found that there are special medicines. For me, one of those is dance that bring balance in the worst of times. One of those in my life with Lou has been humor. If we can find something that makes us laugh, it can be like having a lifeline thrown out to us in a choppy sea. And if we can find some way to laugh at a situation, we are saved. The other night, Mary Lou and I made up an operatic song about basura, garbage in Spanish, because Louis, after dinner, loves to overturn waste baskets. He goes all around the house, very proud and trotting, and goes to each bathroom and pushes over the wastebasket and takes out any tissues, which he takes into our closet near my cowboy boots and destroys them. It is his only bad habit, and it always makes us laugh, and it made us make up a song for him. Whatever is happening in the world, our own is lightened. Another is acts of kindness. Vivian Comorty spoke in December about how she and her family had been wondering if they had done the right thing moving to Prescott, and they were feeling out of balance. Then they were the recipients of acts of kindness. And just as someone's ill will can be the face of a community, so can goodwill. I hope that this community comes to symbolize kindness in our neighborhood. Whatever our neighbors are experiencing elsewhere in Prescott, I want them to experience kindness at our building, not just with the food, but by the hospitality of our actions. And when we are kind, we also put our own lives into balance. Yesterday, we heard many stories of how Taya's kindness changed people's lives. I believe that her kindness also made her own life worth living and balanced the harshness that she experienced in her early years. During these days, take the lifelines that are sent in your direction. And if you're feeling a lack of lifelines from others, send a lifeline out to someone you know, or even to a stranger. Take a deep breath of this air and catch the scent of daffodils and try to find that moment of balance between light and dark. The mysterious power of the equinox is waiting. May it be so, and amen. And let us sing together, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come to me. set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to see. When they are born, they must not be. Young cornerstone, come ahead, hold us strong. So powerful, soon in the heart, as thou may I love to see, and
And now we will listen to our closing words by the woman who made the Basura song with me and has made my life delightful for many, many years, Mary Lou Prince.
I am really grateful because I get to do the choir in this congregation, and I know a lot of music directors across the country who have either given up or their people have just decided to not show up, and their choirs have just fizzled, and ours keeps on going even when we have to be on Zoom. And then when we get to meet in the parking lot, it's like the best party ever. And it's not just the choir, but it's our whole congregation has been wonderful during this whole year of weirdness. So that helps my life feel real balanced.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary Lou. And now let us listen to Susan Kelly and the Salt of the Earth singing about those cottonwood trees that we're going to begin to see leaves on soon.
1, 2, 3, and... Down an old dirt road, I'm just biding my time. Got no peace, it ain't no friend of mine. Got me a song, but it don't rhyme. What am I gonna do? Keep on walking till my day is through. What am I gonna see? A lazy river with a big old cottonwood tree. Lately everything's been a tragedy. I hear it on the TV news day after day. Tired each morning of feeling that way. Gotta keep moving so I can have my say. What am I gonna do? Keep on walking till my day is through. What am I Do some thinking, boy, but that ain't all. Plenty to do, lots to see. Gotta keep moving so I can be free. What am I gonna do? Keep on walking till my day is through. What am I gonna see? Lazy river with a big old cottonwood tree. A big old cottonwood tree. A big old cottonwood tree. A big old cottonwood tree.
Yay! Thank you, Susan and Salt of the Earth. And before we extinguish our chalice, I want you to know that next week we will be able to show you the long-awaited preliminary drawing from the architect of our sanctuary renovation. Dick Walter and Rick Denny and our team will be waiting to give a history of how this idea was reached, and we will be waiting for your questions. And now let us extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And also those of you who are in the chalice circle that starts at 1, it is the same link as our worship service, and I will see you then. And now I invite you all to go into your breakout rooms, and I hope you answer some of the questions I asked about where you find balance during these times. Thank you so much.